Hi there, I am Adam Kibas, and this is another episode of my podcast, Literary Analysis. We are still at Macbeth, we are still analyzing Macbeth. We were in the beginning, the last time we talked about King Duncan, why he is a bad leader in Machiavellian terms. This is indeed very important to take into consideration. So we talked about why King Duncan may be some sort of the cause and the reason of all this usurpations, because we know before Macbeth there was another usurpation of the former Thane of Cawdor, so Macbeth just assumes his title in that sense. So there is some sort of a common circumstance or situation of betrayal. So King Duncan, we said, is not is not with his men. He does not know what is going on, but rather some sort of listens to what he's been. Listens to messengers, listens to people who advise him, and so on and so forth. So in that sense, this again some sort of hits into the theme of the play. This is blindness in that sense. King Duncan was blind about the former Thane of Cawdor, to whom he had absolute trust. He says it, he admits it, he didn't saw that one coming, and again he does not see some sort of betrayal of Macbeth coming. He praises him, he makes a huge danger, as we said, from an Machiavellian view. He praises Macbeth too much. He admits, without your help, I would be nothing. Indeed, I mean, this is dangerous in that sense, because Macbeth is not only now the Thane of Glamis, but as well as the Thane of Cawdor, and he has a lot of aspiration. He controls the army and everyone, and we said those who know a little bit about Roman history of the Imperium Romanum know that this is very dangerous, especially after the Marian reform. Every general who some sort of has control of the army can make himself to be hailed as emperor. This was some very dangerous times in the Roman Empire, which then led to some developments which then the Middle Ages inherited. However, this is whole Roman history. Now at Macbeth we have a lot of themes, and the theme of blindness is very vivid in King Lear, but as well as you have here with blindness, you have blindness as well as with disguise. I mean, I have written some quotes which again proves how important blindness, and it comes always with disguise, meaning that the people who are in a way trapped in this world, they do not know what is going on beside them. I mean, one thing of course is that King Duncan cannot see through people, of course, because he's not with the people. But the blindness, for example, or that you wanna disguise your true purpose, this is when Lady this quote what I'm going to read is when Lady Macbeth got the message from her husband that he met some witches. Those witches told him that he's going to be king. This some sort of raised his ambition, raised his desperation. He was at first scared and shocked because he, this is very important, did actually not really know or did not really give in to this notion that he might be king, or he did not think about becoming king. So when those witches, those 3 witches, some then reveal to him that he might be king, this is some sort of shocked, and his friend Banquo some sort of realizes it, and so on, and from there on you could either say, would he have some sort of killed King Duncan when he had known about this Islam, some sort of things you think about, especially when you know or have watched the movie Matrix, when Neo some sort of meets the Oracle for the first time, and he I think bumps into a pot and throws it down, and the Oracle, before he some sort of throws the pot down, says to him, do not matter about the pot. He gets shrieked and then some sort of bumps into the pot, and this is again some sort of this question: would he have bumped into the pot? Would have Neo bumped into the pot if the Oracle wouldn't have told him? And this is again something you have in Macbeth as well. Would he have some sort of usurped against the king if those witches did not some sort of wake his ambition? And this is something, because this is something you indeed get the notion of in the plot, that Macbeth is a decent man. He's not wicked, he's steadfast, he has some principles. Even his wife admits that, he is too full of the milk of human kindness. So even she knows that he's too good to commit that. That's why she some sort of has to trick him. That's why she some sort of has to corrupt him in that sense. And this is some sort of, again, it is some sort of, we will talk about this shortly, this dichotomy between man and women. You some sort of have the notion in the play, this is even with Hecate, that women in a way spoil man, those 3 witches who take revenge, and then Hecate, which assumably is the head of the witches, and then later Lady Macbeth, she starts in a way, she brings the ball into rolling, or she some sort of pushes things into a start. She initiates it, and so on and so on. And from there on, things turn out as they are. But we will be there shortly. But for now, we will some sort of talk a little about blindness, about this guys. I have prepared some great parts of the scene. Macbeth, I like the language, and so on. I like Shakespeare's language. That's why good stuff. However, one great example for blindness as well as this guys is when Lady Macbeth some sort of conjures up evil spirits to this guys. What is going to happen? King Duncan is at Macbeth's castle. He wants there for dinner, and there some sort of Lady Macbeth makes out the plot to get rid of King Duncan, and she says, while conjuring up those evil spirits, come thick night and pale thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold. This is actually very important. This is what you see here, as well as then later when Macbeth commits the murder on King Duncan is that Macbeth does not want to see what he's done. And this is something you sort of have here in this quote of Lady Macbeth as well, that my knife see not the wounds that it makes. So this is happened when later Macbeth kills King Duncan. He some sort of should have left the daggers back there, but he some sort of carried them with them. He's scared. He cannot go back anymore to bring those daggers back, because then this would mean that he would have to see and watch what he's going to see and so on. And this is here you have some sort of blindness, but as well as a desire to look away. And later Macbeth repents. He wants that this is being undone, that he could some sort of wake Duncan, this eternal child, because this is again some sort of comes through the play, and this is that Duncan in his naivete, in his oblivion, what is happening around him is actually a naive child. And later on Macbeth even describes him as a child. However, I have another quote for blindness, and this is when Macbeth, he's about to commit this crime on King Duncan, and then here he says, let not light see my black and deep desires, the eye wink of the hand, and let that be which the eye fears when it is done to see. So that this is as well as again something you want to disguise your true feelings, as well as when King Duncan then comes to Macbeth's castle, his wife some sort of admonishes him that he should put on a happy face, because people might read strange matters. So again, you some sort of play, you some sort of disguise yourself from the reality, and as well as disguise your desires, what you think. And as well, another quote for blindness. This is rather King Duncan's blindness. King Duncan does not really see, for example, through the shape. This is very important, because he is not with his man on the battlefield. He does not know what they think, as well as he is not with his man. That's why he is some sort of naive, and he does not see in the heart of people, in the heart of the people. He assumes only the good, and when he and Banquo arrive at Macbeth's castle, he some sort of again sees only the outside, only the shape or the superficial appearance, but not what is really going on in the castle, because in the castle he's plotted against, or people have actually already some sort of made up the plot to get rid of him. And here he says, when he sees Macbeth's castle, King Duncan says to Banquo, this castle have a pleasant seat, the air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses. And this is some sort of, why is this important? This is important because in the beginning of the play, in the beginning of Macbeth, with those three witches, some sort of the theme of the I would say the main theme of the plot is some sort of established, and this is a dark plot. And if we some sort of and it is about war, it is about blood, it is about conspiracy, and we would assume it has to be dark and so on. And then in this dark world, imagine like say Edgar Allan Poe, and we will talk about Edgar Allan Poe. But imagine those who know Poe, that there's a dark world, everything is dark, and then at once some sort of appear a very vivid description about life, about everything, about a good air, despite the fact that we actually know before this, or despite the fact that at the previous scene there is Lady Macbeth who have conjured up the demons and evil spirits to some sort of turn her milk to gold and so on and so forth. Despite what is going up inside the castle, this is dark. This is some evil. Yet King Duncan sees only the beautiful sky, beautiful birds, and so on and so forth. This is the huge contrast, and this is why this is important. This is not just by some people having random conversations. So it is the contrast that King Duncan still describes some sort of a good nature, and even Banquo as well. Banquo, who is a close friend of Macbeth, they again some sort of describe the beauty of it all, and somehow they do not know through people. And later on, they will again some sort of reminiscence about Macbeth. He was considered a decent man. He was considered. So this really hits into the spot. I mean, there are a lot of plenty examples for this, guys. This is when, for example, this is another. Sorry about that. Outside, our Shiite neighbors, they have all dogs and they are barking. They can't stop barking. Well, however it is, I mean, I don't know why some people, despite the fact that we are in the crisis, still have to hold dogs. However it is, but to these guys, we were at this guys. There is another example for these guys again. So this is what Macbeth says. To be face must hide what the false heart doth know. So again, you some sort of have this. You always one of these guys. This on purpose. So it is not only that King Duncan is just oblivious or that he does not know. He is being tricked into oblivion. However, so it is indeed very important. Another main theme of the play is, of course, ambition. This is probably the biggest theme of the one of the great theme of the play. And there are two forms of desire or ambition, and this is then perfectly some sort of explained in the play as well. This is through drunkenness. So if there is talk about drunkenness, it is not per se just about people getting drunk. Not at all. It is more about that. And here is drunkenness some sort of used as a synonym for ambition, for desire. This again hits into the spot of blindness. This is what later is explained by the porter, that the drunkenness some sort of lulls you into false security. It is this towards your perception of the world. Some it is, despite the fact, or if you read this passage or listen to it, in Macbeth, it some sort of appears to be as if they would be talking about sex, as if they would be talking about religion, no, about debauchery, about sex. No, but it is rather, I would assume, it is really about ambition. What does ambition do to you? And ambition, in that sense, it is rather seen through drunkenness. Drunkenness is being used synonymous with ambition. You have a lot of, in the beginning, you have Macbeth. He like we said before, he's surprised because he actually did not himself know what his heart desired. So this meant when those three witches reveal to him that he some sort of could be king, and then his desire is been raised, or his desire has been awakened. This is very important, and this which leads us to a dilemma: would he have gone so far, and so on. But however, there it is some sort of to Macbeth himself was not. It was not very clear what he wants, what he desired, and so on. However, but this desire then becomes drunkenness, especially when he becomes the Thane of Gordor. So, because the three witches have had revealed to him that he will become the Thane of Gordor after he is already the Thane of Glamis, and then he is some sort of will become king. And then later, when he's proclaimed the Thane of Gordor, he some sort of sees this rising desire, but then he has a setback, and this is Malcolm. This is some sort of again which further increases his desire, and this is again very important. This is a cue of the plot structure. So this means the protagonist Macbeth does not or is not able to become king in a normal way or in a ordinary way. No, he has to some sort of barge his way through it because Malcolm is in his way. This is pretty much then leads to the fact that he has to get rid of King Duncan. However, but here you see with this setback, there already starts a drunkenness, a desire. You want more, you want thing, and this then some sort of, and then Macbeth breaks the news to Lady Macbeth. She hears about it, and this again some sort of starts her desire, her drunkenness, and she some sort of gets the servants or the protectors of King Duncan drunk so that they do not or cannot perform their duty. And she again some sort of says something which again proves from my point of view that drunkenness is being used about synonymous with ambition, but it has two forms. The one side of ambition is that you are just complacent, or that one side of drunkenness is that you are just complacent with what you have, and the other one is that you are really driven by desire and drunkenness. And Lady Macbeth saying after she has metaphorically drunk out of the chalice of desire and ambition, she states that which made me drunk have made me bold. Now that with made them drunk have made me bold, that have quenched them have given me fire. This is again, so you have some sort of a double-edged sword. So drunkenness here with the servants, she then later say, because the servants, or instead of protecting King Duncan, they all fell asleep. They become too complacent. And then Lady Macbeth says, they do mock their charge with snores. So that they are too complacent. They do not know what is coming, despite the fact which later Macbeth reports that one of those servants yelled murder, murder, but again it's just they slept or some sort of resumed their sleep, so they did not do anything at all. Here again, so drunkenness in one sense one can assume or is being assumed as someone or being too complacent. So really some sort of is a sedatum sedative for some, but for others, like Lady Macbeth, the drunkenness is indeed some sort of synonymous with ambition. She and Macbeth have drunken or took a huge gulp of the chalice of ambition. And this is indeed very important. Desire is then later in the fourth act, when Malcolm some sort of makes his confession. It is of course, again, we will talk about this as well. Again, it is some sort of appears as a confession. In the fourth act, Malcolm, the son of the king and the heir, some sort of confesses to Macduff what king he might be, because they are talking about the time after the reign of Macbeth. They are talking about what king will be, what will come of Scotland, and there Malcolm confesses again. It is a test, but it is really confusing to Macduff. He doesn't know. He even asks, why would you say these word things and so on. So it is, I would assume, really meant real. So the Duncan some sort of speaks out his heart, and he again talks about gluttony. He talks about the desire of stealing everyone's wife. He talks about the desire of money, about everything he wants, that he would get rid of people, and so on. Here again, you have some sort of this drunkenness, this which drives people, which some sort of leads to a disaster, and so on and so forth. This is, I think, these two forms of drunkenness. This is important, and they even very important, and it is some sort of again reiterated by the porter, who explains it again. It may assume that it is a reference to sexuality, but I would assume it is partially drunkenness, again this normal complacency, but you have to read it in another way as well. And this is when drunkenness, it is really some sort of like what happens in this tragedy, in these tragedies, that you some sort of lose touch with reality anymore, or what is apt, or that you lose your senses. I mean, this is when Macbeth, who has been considered a decent human being, who is admired and praised, then some sort of commits treason like his predecessor before him. So again, the former Thane of Cawdor probably drank out of the chalice of ambition as well, and then got drunk. So you have to some sort of read drunkenness in two forms. Another very important thing what we talked about and started talking about, this was some sort of another great theme we some sort of started, was that every action has a reaction. I mean, this is one of the central themes of the play. It starts with it starts with this story, this little narration of the witches, with this ship and so on, and it again goes through the entire theme as well. This is something when you have too much, for example, when Macbeth, he's about to get rid of King Duncan, and he some sort of ponders. This is again some sort of a great structure of Shakespeare. We will talk about the structure as well. We will as well as talk about later about the switching of scenes. Again, this is not very easy because Macbeth was made for the theater, but I have prepared, or I will prepare one extra episode for the switch of scenes. We will analyze the Dark Knight, or we will analyze Batman, not the Dark Knight, but Batman Begins, the switching of scenes, which is important important, especially if you are a writer or if you write screenplays. This is a big issue, how to switch scenes, which scene should follow another. This is always a big issue. Whatever it is, but here we will talk a little bit further about this. Every action has a reaction. Everything that goes around comes around, and so on and so forth. And these are very important. And then when Macbeth, he's not very, or he's some sort of hesitant. He reluctantly, in the end, commits the murder, and he repents and so on. And there you have again some sort of that Macbeth tries to avoid the consequences, because Macbeth knows that if he goes, that if he kills the king, that this will have consequences, and he some sort of ponders over these consequences. What if we could some sort of prevent that this becomes a president? Then this is what he's talking about, because not only will this lead to some sort of a common habit, because if he gets rid of the king, then he could fall victim to it as well. This is what we saw in the Roman Empire. So their emperors would die on a very frequent basis. So it became pretty much obvious that when the Praetorian Guard did not like an emperor, they would just get rid of him, and so on and so forth. And Macbeth knows it, and this is again what proves that he indeed understands leadership and so on and so forth. And here again, because then Macbeth some sort of knows, because Duncan is this child, this naive child, he will have a lot of support. He even knows that if he gets rid of King Duncan, the public would some sort of chide him, would see only a bad of him. This is again a big issue when Malcolm confesses his thoughts to Macduff. And here again, in a Machiavellian view, if we some sort of analyze this in a Machiavellian view, you would then of course agree with Macbeth that you do not get rid of a leader who is very popular, a leader who is very beloved by his people, because Macbeth said, King Duncan did actually nothing wrong. He acted in a certain way. He did the best he could. He's naive. He's oblivious what is going on around him. We would consider him in an Machiavellian view a very weak king. He doesn't know what's going on. He's not with his men. However, but the public loves him, or the public only sees the good of him. And then when Macbeth would get rid of him, then people would associate with his reign only that the murder of Duncan, this hideous. And there are a lot more references about a child that he some sort of kills this innocent child in that sense. And this child narration, or this child theme, is again a big theme in the play as well. However, this every action has a reaction. This plays as well as to the virtues of the characters, virtues like coward. This later when Macbeth gets rid of King Duncan, and then more and more his paranoia gets the best of him. He becomes more and more a despot, and Macduff, his great adversary, escapes. He leaves, but without his family. He's a coward, and he is even considered by his own family, by his own wife, as a coward, as a traitor who does not stand with his family. And then in the end, because of this, because he's not manly, we will talk about this shortly as well, because Macduff is not manly. He's not a man who stays with his family and fights. Because of this, he in the end loses his family, and this again brings us back into the beginning of this witches, of this small narration of this witch, so that you pay for other people's faults or wrongs and failures as well. And his wife and his children, they are all then killed. They are all slain. Macduff can nothing but weep, and the same happens with with the heir Malcolm as well. So the moment Macduff got rid of his father, of Prince Duncan's father, Prince Duncan, Prince Malcolm and his brother Dunblane, do not stay their ground. They do not stay there to avenge their father. They do not stay there to some sort of analyze or go behind what is happening there, but they rather decide to escape. This is again some sort of where you feel and should get the notion that Malcolm is actually not a good king, that he's a coward, that he fled the field. He even says that if there is no there is warrant in theft when there is no mercy left, which just means you can steal yourself away, which is nothing but the justification of coward. This again actually proves that King Duncan is a weak king, that this in the end, in the fourth act, where he some sort of admits his desire that this can be taken for true. And in addition to this, the three witches some sort of prophesies that Banquo's heirs will become kings. So this means that when the play is over, when Macbeth is dead and Malcolm is hailed the king, then you some sort of perceive, well, this is not over yet. So this will go on. So this will lead down to the path of debauchery. Why? Because there are weak kings. Why? Which further makes the situation dire. And this is again a vicious circle from which one might not be escape. In that sense, this is pretty much important. I think there's a great summary of the, I would say, 3 to 4 themes of the play. And this is when the porter, there's a drunk porter. I mean, this drunk porter again falls out of the play, because the play, if you see or listen or read Macbeth, it is a pretty much serious play. It is about betrayal, about murder. And there is again some sort of, after King Duncan is dead or been slain by Macbeth, there is one scene with a drunk porter who some sort of pretends that he would be open the hell gates. And there again you some sort of have the summary of the main themes of the play. We talked about drunkenness as well, so the porter talks a little bit of drunkenness, but before he some sort of talks with Macduff, he some sort of, while he pretends to be someone who holds the hell gate opens and closes the hell gates, he some sort of scrutinizes people who pass through the hell gate, why they may have sent to the doom. And the first one he announces is a farmer who hanged himself because in expectancy of plenty. So this is again the first thing. We have greed. So this over ambition, this greed. This farmer hanged himself. He was too greedy. He wanted more than he was due. Then the second one who passes through the gate is a Jesuit he some sort of again talks with two lips, he some sort of disguises his true nature. This is again a very important theme of the play. So deception, deception. In one sense, he speaks with a split tongue. This Jesuit who has been called an equivocator, who has some sort of uses language in both ways. He some sort of conjures up heaven and as well as hell. So he plays a doubled game, a double-edged sword. So he lies and he's cunning. He has no moral principles and he have principles and swerves in both directions, good and bad. So this is what the Porter says, and this is again some sort of what we have through the themes with Macbeth. He disguises his true nature. He doesn't want anyone looking into his heart, into his soul. He deceives people. He disguises himself, and this is again some sort of a big theme. Blindness, we said blindness. This guys, and the third thing, and the third one who walks through this imaginary hell gate is a tailor. Here, in the third example, you can read the tailor in both ways, because the tailor, some sort of, in one hand, you could read the third person who walks through the hell gate, this tailor, as someone who some sort of stole from people who already had plenty. He some sort of has forged French hose, so which means he just took away people's or the little what people have. This is one way you can interpret it, or you could see it in the another way that this theme, which would hit the theme, and this is that this tailor helped people to disguise themselves, put on a different garment, put on a different hose, and so on and so forth, and then some sort of he gained something out of it. And then here the Porter says, "Yeah, come in. It is hot here. Here you can roast your geese." So all his gain he made out of this, or either he stole from people, or the little they have, or he helped them to some sort of disguise their true nature. Either way, the gain he made out of this is not worth anything. He can only roast his geese in the hell. So this is some sort of a summary you have throughout the plot a couple of times. I would say a summary of the main theme. These are of course not all themes. We will talk about some later as well. One big theme is between man and women. So what is manly, or the masculinity? This is huge theme. And the next theme is sacrifice. This is, I think, a very important theme, which comes with the theme of babies, children, and inheritance. Who follows whom? So, and we will talk about this at the next week. I hope you will join us, and I hope that you take care of yourselves in these dangerous times. Do not get bitten by a dog, and that you keep healthy in this, keep safe and healthy in this pandemic. Bye.